now I would like to ask President Dennis Knight to give his presidential speech.
Good. All right. So, I'm the happiest person in the room today. Let me tell you why. In Indianapolis, I shared that my wife and I marked our 50th wedding anniversary. It actually occurred in Indianapolis the same weekend that I became president of ASHRAE. Am I sure? 50 years. That's also the length of time I've been in the building industry. All right, so what's great about this, though, is just give me a second. So what's great about this is that we get to celebrate and share it with our family, our friends, and our colleagues in ASHRAE all around the world. Now, when Cheryl and I got married, we were really just kids. She was 17. I had just turned 18. Our wedding photographer's camera of choice was a Polaroid. You know, the ones with the self-developing pictures, right? So about an hour after, I gotta get this technology right, okay. So about an hour after our wedding, we pulled our 1965 Plymouth Sport Fury into a drive-through restaurant where we grabbed 2 hot dogs for our honeymoon meal. Then we were off to a place called Myrtle Beach, South Carolina for a 2-night honeymoon getaway. Now, if you ask me, the secret to a 50-year marriage, I would tell you that it is an investment in and a commitment to making our relationship work. I'd also tell you that it's not always easy, but boy, is it worth it. And I would say to the, what is your name? Yarn. All right, Yarn. So I think you're spot on with your comments. It's past the point of continuous improvement and incremental change. We need to be doing transformative things and taking on, and we need to go beyond our regulators and our codes. We can't play. So excellent comments about that. So thank you. So, our honeymoon lasted only 2 nights because I had to return to work first thing Monday morning. So my journey in the buildings industry began just 2 weeks after I had graduated from high school. I stepped into the workforce, ready to learn and ready to contribute. Now, my brand new job title was Power Plant Piping Systems Designer. Now that's a fancy way of saying draftsperson. So an engineer named Fred Howard, who visited my high school drafting class, offered me that position in my junior year when I was just 16 years old. Now, why would the largest power company in the United States that designed, built, owned, and operated some of the biggest power plants in the world at that time. Talk to a 16-year-old kid about employment. Well, I think the answer is simple: workforce development. They invested in and they were committed to attracting and retaining people who would do the necessary work to advance their business goals, like most of us. How many employers do we have in the room? All right. By starting at the high school level, they were casting a wider net, accessing a larger pool of employment candidates, and including students on traditional and non-traditional tracks to higher education and career development. So, why should we focus on workforce development? Why should ASHRAE, why should the industry focus on workforce development? Over the last several years, we've accepted the challenge of being vital players in addressing the most severe threats to our planet and our lifetimes: the COVID-19 pandemic and the climate crisis. So that said, our industry is facing its own crisis, one that will hinder our ability to meet the challenges we've accepted, the targets we've set for ourselves in the world, and the commitments we've made. That crisis is with our workforce, or more appropriately, the lack of skilled people like you who have the capability and desire to choose a career in heating, ventilating, air conditioning, and refrigeration, or HVAC&R, as we call it. All right? And the truth is, we need more people like you. Your skills, your passion, your commitment are what will drive our industry forward and ensure its viability for the years to come. We need capable people. We need passionate people. We need people who want to make a difference. It is an issue of survival and of our planet's ability to sustain itself for future generations. Now, if we are going to meet this challenge, first, we have to understand how to solve our workforce development issues. But let's start with some good news. And it is good news. We are a growing industry, and future demand is exceptional. The International Energy Agency expects the number of HVAC systems worldwide to increase from around 2 billion today to over 6 billion by 2050. That's 25 years. We're going to triple the size of this industry. So many of those systems will be in new, large-scale, multi-family residential buildings and mixed-use buildings and developments as people begin to work more from home and within walking distance of their homes. And many of those buildings will connect to large district heating and cooling plants and energy storage facilities. In addition, the United Nations Global Status Report estimates that nearly 2.5 trillion square feet of existing buildings, that's nearly the entire building stock on the planet, most over 20 years old, will need to be renovated. Now, renovation is complicated work. Existing building projects require more people than new construction to be involved. And we need to design and renovate these buildings to be healthy, energy efficient, and carbon neutral. So as a result, we need an expanded workforce that is more diverse and skilled in the latest technologies. Yet, our global workforce is diminishing. So, we have to ask ourselves, why? Why is our fast-growing industry, with its direct ability to address the role that buildings play in improving human health and solving the climate crisis, experiencing an inability to attract new talent? senior building engineers like myself and some of my colleagues in the room, if any of the rest of you have a little gray hair, we bring a wealth of knowledge and experience to our industry. But we are aging out of the workforce. Now, unfortunately, not enough younger people are interested in pursuing this essential career path. I believe it's because we have a perception problem. So part of it is that our message about our vision for a sustainable future where buildings are energy efficient, healthy, and carbon neutral, and our role in that work needs to be clarified. Now, we all want to be involved in a career that we can be passionate about and where we can find meaning and purpose. So maybe it comes down to this. We need to demonstrate to the world what we do and the impact that our industry is making today and is capable of producing in the future to address indoor environmental quality, sustainable development, and climate change. We need to highlight our industry in a way that celebrates the ideas and innovations that emerge when we embrace and encourage greater diversity, equity, and inclusion. Now, the good news is that you are in the right place at the right time. And I believe that together we can grow the ranks of committed and passionate professionals and shape the future of our industry and our planet. Now, I believe we are making a difference today. We're beginning to take some of those transformative steps. And we need to spread the word. We need to be out here running around the town shouting it from the rooftops. Letting the general population know how important this industry is to their health and well-being. So let's go back to 1974 and that first job. My first day on the job, my tools were simple. A graphite pencil, a couple of plastic triangles, a straight edge, and a piece of paper. Now, with these simple tools, I learned to describe in 2 dimensions how to construct large, complex power plants. Now, people have used these tools for over 600 years, at least since the Renaissance. Yet they've been made obsolete in less than 50 years, just the span of my career, right? So in the late 1970s, I learned computer-aided drafting, or CAD. Many of us are familiar with that, right? I see a few heads nodding. Which has been almost completely displaced now by building information modeling, or BIM. The cycles of obsolescence and innovation get shorter and shorter. And with some of these transformative technologies like AI, they're going to change overnight in some cases. So because of this, we need to continue to upskill and provide new tools to our existing workforce. Yes, even our senior engineers. So because of this, we need to have continuous learning opportunities, and they've got to be available to every one of us in the room throughout our entire careers. Gone are the days that you learn something once and then use it 50 times, 100 times, 20, 30 years. So today, rapidly changing technology and artificial intelligence are transforming the building science industry and presenting numerous career opportunities. I do think we need to look at it as opportunities. Advanced automation and AI-driven systems will offer more energy efficient and intelligent building system solutions while enhancing comfort and indoor environmental quality. HVAC&R and building science professionals can use their skills and leverage the cutting-edge technologies. And that creates a demand for more specialized experience and more career opportunity. So the growing emphasis on sustainability, resilience, and resource efficiency in building design and operations opens up career opportunities focused on green building technologies and renewable energy integration. Our work has a direct impact on improving the human condition. Now, numerous studies show the link between indoor environmental quality and the health and well-being of building occupants. New career paths create opportunities to stimulate breakthroughs in sustainability, resilience, health and well-being, human comfort, and productivity. And those in our industry, those who understand these practices and become skilled at implementing them, will have plenty of career opportunities, like I mentioned yesterday, and go tripling the size of the industry. There is no shortage of opportunity in this industry, and no matter what you study. So as technology advances, people of all ages are becoming more accustomed to adapting to new technologies, tools, and processes. Just look at your cell phone and the things that it can do now versus what it did 20 years ago. So by strategically leveraging the power of technology alongside the power of human creativity, which I believe is the definition of infinity, right? There is no limit to what we can think. Both experienced professionals and new talent can collaborate to drive progress within our industry. So, how can we drive more talent to our industry? So this year, as part of my presidential theme, we introduced 3 initiatives this society year to help address the workforce crisis. And you can see them there, tools for career conversations. I'm going to talk about them a little more in a minute. Member resource groups, and you'll find out that that's just a new name for something we've been doing a long time. And professional development. So first, as I talk about the perception issue a few minutes ago, so to raise our profile, our staff, our volunteers, my advisors as I've worked up to this year, they all work together to create this grassroots campaign to educate others about our industry and our industry's role and contributions in solving climate change and improving health for everybody. So the campaign promotes the current work we do and the future opportunities in HVAC&R that will impact environmental quality, climate change, and sustainable development for everybody. So, this work, our work, will have an even more significant impact as the world's population grows from 8 billion people to 9.7 billion in 2050. So that same 25 years, we're going to add another 1.7 billion people to the planet. That's still not enough to fill tripling the industry. That's not enough people to fill our voids in career and job opportunities. But I believe that every one of you here in the room, every ASHRAE member, anybody working in the HVAC&R industry can be a messenger and an ambassador. So one way we've done it is we've created something. If you happen to go to ASHRAE.org/president, so to the president's webpage, we've created something called Career Conversations. Now, I kicked it off with a short video of why this industry means a lot to me. We don't talk about air handlers. We don't talk about ductwork. We don't talk about size and grills. We talk about the impact we're having on humanity. So I give a short one, and then we got 26 young engineers from our Leadership Academy to tell their stories in really short sound bites, and why they're passionate and why they feel like they're going to be able to help change the world and have an impact. Well, that's growing. We made these tools now available to all our chapters, all our members. You can go to that website. You can get guidance on how to create these kind of messages that you can take to your schools, your universities, and tell your stories and steer people toward this vital industry. By doing that now, we've already had, there's been over 60 videos uploaded to our career conversations. It's a great place to start if you're going to a school or you're going somewhere you want to talk about recruitment and retention. Grab a couple of those videos, show them, watch them. So, all of that is available to our members at our chapter level, and it's so you can tailor your stories, your personal observations and passions and motivation. By the end of the year, what I'm hoping is that as we go around and present at conferences like this and do chapter visits, I'm hoping that all of you will be able to then articulate our why or your why. Why is this a great career? Why should people be interested in this work and want to do it? And why is our field essential for survival as it commits to protecting our globe? And just as I'm telling my story today, every one of us, every one of you can tell your stories and you can commit them to eternity, right? You can make a video, put it up on the ASHRAE website, and help us convince the rest of the world to join us in this fight against climate change and improving human health and well-being. Second, we created something called Member Resource Groups, or MRGs. How about that? Another acronym, another way of abbreviating something, right? Well, Member Resource Groups help solve problems and grow interaction between similar sets of ASHRAE members. MRGs, they promote a sense of belonging and enable more efficient network. Now, they're not new to ASHRAE. If you were to think about it in a big sense, ASHRAE is a member resource group, right? It's a group of people all around the world, 55,000 people with a common interest in the HVAC and our industry. But if we break that down smaller, we've successfully developed smaller member resource groups within our own community. Young engineers in ASHRAE, women in ASHRAE, student members, and every one of our technical committees and standards committees are dedicated smaller groups of people that have common interests working to improve our industry, improve the content that ASHRAE is able to make available to our industry. So this representation within these groups, that what it does is it brings different perspectives, experiences, and ideas that ultimately advance our industry. And when I talk, when I go around and talk to some of the chapters, and they'll say, well, we've got our local society, and I agree. We all need to be working with our local societies, our local communities, and we're not here to replace that. We're here to be collaborative and work together. And I like to think about it like if you're sitting at the dinner table and you're talking to your family and that's all you ever do, you never know what's going on outside the walls of your home, right? But by joining into a bigger global community, you get to come sit at the table with some of the best and brightest people in the entire world and learn from them. And you get to sit at that table and share your experiences with them so they learn too. So that's the reason we work locally and then we work globally, right? To learn from each other, share, and find out what's working and what's not everywhere we go. So 2 of the new groups we piloted in Indianapolis that will also be continued in Orlando is the Young Professionals with Families and the New Members Club. Now what we're doing though is creating a framework where these member resource groups, when a group of ASHRAE members that have some common interest feel like they need to get together and talk, and then possibly bring something to the leadership of ASHRAE, the board of directors or whatever, that they can stand these MRGs up at our summer and winter meetings anytime they need. Or maybe it's a virtual group. talk about the issues they see, and then bring them to attention of our technical committees, our board of directors, our grassroots. So that framework will then own a place in the ASHRAE website where people can request the ability to meet at a meeting and stand-up groups that can talk about common issues within the HVAC and our industry. Now, third, we're investing in and we're committed to individual and collective professional development. Education and training has been the cornerstone of ASHRAE for 130 years, right? But I think we need to change our thinking about the value of developing people and investing in people. Young people investing in yourselves through membership, employers and investing in your employees so that they become better employees by coming to the meetings, coming to the local chapters. So data shows that when we invest in people or invest in developing people, it enhances their loyalty, retention, and impact. We want employees to be motivated, highly productive, innovative, and profitable for as long as they stay in our firms, right? I know I do. I've always wanted that. So, remember my first job as a draftsman. Fred Howard and my employer began investing in and committing to my personal growth and development nearly a year and a half before I graduated from high school. So this initiative, it aims to develop new programs and modernize our education delivery platforms to provide technical onboarding and training materials for mechanical engineers, architects, contractors, manufacturers, technicians, and building scientists. And it's powered by ASHRAE's 130-year reputation within the built environment. And we will continue to be the industry's go-to resource for HVAC&R and building science education to new employees and to maintain and increase the skills of our mid-career, more senior level professionals. Now, as a bonus, leading up to the Society Year, our team was fortunate to begin working on a few programs to support workforce development. We started building relationships with our U.S. federal agencies, and I will tell you that every workforce development is the number 2 issue behind national security for every single country on the planet. So we're competing with a lot of other groups, right? Everybody needs people. Everybody needs capable people. And the United Nations Global Alliance for Building Construction, we began talking to them and federal agencies about the topic of workforce development. So as a result of that, we were able to convene, and it just happened in New York, we convened an industry summit on global workforce needs assessment. What will the future of HVAC and our careers be? We held that the day before our decarbonization conference in New York City, and the goal was to produce a roadmap, a white paper, and a report that would be available to our entire industry to help them recruit, retain, and maintain their employees of the future. We've kind of worked, at the speed of how we turned out ASHRAE Standard 241, and that report's going to be available to our industry and our members in Orlando. We're going to make it available then. And then we've created some endowed scholarships, and traditionally scholarships are made available to students or potential students coming into the university and our education facilities. These scholarships are going to allow practicing professionals like you all, like me and you, to take advantage of some of our professional development opportunities. We've had some very generous donors set up some foundations, and we're going to use the returns of that to make scholarships available to practicing professionals, no matter where they're at in their career. If they need some financial assistance to get some training, they'll be made available. I will tell you that public Publications in Education, Mark Owen, is also now looking at an AI platform to help doing research on our handbooks and standards, and they're piloting a couple of vendors' tools right now. So things are exciting, things are moving forward. And then finally, a couple of things we're doing like this is we created the ASHRAE Decarbonization Challenge last year. Ginger awarded the first award of that challenge last June. And this year, that and my Presidential Award of Excellence criteria all focus on the chapter level, having local professionals deliver their projects that focus on upskilling and reskilling and targeting our mid-career and young professionals to help raise the boats of our local communities. Again, it's all grassroots, working at the chapter level, working with our local building officials, our local members, our local engineers, and helping them all disseminate the latest technology. Finally, at every CRC I attended this year, we held an industry roundtable, just like the summit, but we brought those local people that were working in those regions, 16 regions around the world, to talk about their issue, what their workforce needs are, what the workforce of the future will be. And the white paper and report from that will be rolled in the report from the summit and updated so we can present it at the June meeting as I roll off my presidential year. Now, 100 years ago, workforce development seemed simple. There were fewer industries, less specialization, and different educational opportunities. In my world, I grew up in the southeastern United States. Entire towns were built primarily around one industry, and that was cotton. Small towns and cities all around the world developed around the same workforce model, focusing on industries such as steel, auto and machine manufacturing, mining, and farming. For at least 3 generations before me, my ancestors either worked on a mill-owned farm growing cotton, or they worked in the cotton mills, making products out of it. It was a subsistence life, and that's a life that my father and my grandfather fully intended for me to follow. But Fred Howard changed all that. He ignited a passion, and that would ultimately lead to my becoming an engineer and a business leader. Now, he recruited me into this industry with what I call a skills-first hiring approach. Now, remember, I was still in high school, so I didn't have an engineering degree yet or anything like that. But through Fred and other employees, I took advantage of in-house training, ASHRAE courses, job-specific mentoring, and generous tuition reimbursement programs for my employers. I went on to earn a degree in physics from the College of Charleston, become a registered engineer. I built a successful consulting engineering practice, and through ASHRAE, I have worked to introduce building information modeling technology to our industry for the last 24 years, helped to improve indoor air quality in K through 12 schools through some of the technical committees I've worked on. And one of the most rewarding things I've ever done was I engaged with my ASHRAE colleagues to produce standards and take action on global issues like the pandemic, right? Working through the epidemic task force. That's the beauty of ASHRAE. We can do our work at our desks every day, but by working within ASHRAE, we're adding to the expertise of the entire world. And that's all because Fred Howard was thinking outside of the box for his time when he came and talked to my drafting class, right? So for us to grow and shape the HVAC and our industry and building science workforce for the next 50 to 100 years, we need to think outside of the box. And we need to think outside of the box in ways that will meet the needs of our industry, meet the needs of our prospective workforce. The needs of our workforce have really changed since the COVID-19 pandemic, right? And we've got to meet them. We've got to learn to work in models that meet the needs of the workforce. And we need to meet the needs of the world at large. We need to take a closer look at access to education and training, and we need to expand our concept of who could be a potential workforce candidate. Remember, I was recruited at 16 years old. We need people from every physical science, life science, and business science discipline. But we also need our technicians, our technical trades, in the HVAC and our industry, and in ASHRAE. We can learn from everybody, and everybody can contribute. So I'm going to ask you a couple of questions. Is everybody awake first, right? Yeah? Okay. Do you want to have an impact? Too way too quiet. Costa's my cheerleader. You should scream. Yeah, I said shout it from the rooftops, right? All right. Well, let me ask you this: Do you want to make a difference? Yes. There you go. All right. Coffee's kicking in. Well, I can tell you right now, I need your help with this theme. Our industry definitely needs your help. I mean, if you're in this industry and if you're not busy and not looking for people, just everybody I've talked to, we're all looking for people. And ASHRAE needs your help. If we're going to continue to grow that knowledge base, we need people from every climate zone, every region, and every culture contributing to how to provide thermal comfort and sustainability to every person on the planet in a cost-effective way. So we got to take this message to the street every day. We've got to be prepared to engage in conversations and share our stories about how the HVAC in our industry actively creates a sustainable world for everybody, our vision. Now, as I get close to closing, there's a book called Fierce Conversations, and the author's name is Susan Scott, but it has a passage that I use in a lot of my DO presentations and nearly everywhere I go, and it's very simple, but it's so powerful. It says, our lives succeed or fail gradually, then suddenly, one conversation at a time. And while no single conversation is guaranteed to change a life, a marriage, an industry, the world, it can. The conversation is the relationship. I mean, just think about that, right? Every single conversation you've had today, just by coming to this conference, you are a different person tomorrow, right? You are. We all are. So let's have these conversations. Let's build these relationships. Let's network at these meetings. Let's get to know each other. Be there when the person needs something later on and can pick up the phone and call you, right? And say, look, I've got this issue with this project and I really need some help. Let's tell our stories to people that don't know anything about our industry. To administrators at universities that don't have us in the curriculum, don't understand how important this industry is to the success of everybody at their university. Let's share these stories. Let's tell them to students. Let's tell them to colleagues and employees, potential ASHRAE members, and even family and friends. I want you to tell them why this industry is a place that has role models, and each of you are a role model, right? That has role models, mentors, and collaborators that you want to work with and that you aspire to be like. Now, we've accepted the challenge. We've accepted the challenge of solving the climate crisis and building better indoor environments. What I'd like for us to do is take pride in those accomplishments of 130 years of knowledge, tell our stories, and grow our workforce. Thank you.